Hey everybody! I remembered to be here live just as the little red thing came on. Welcome to our Wednesday Kennedy Street Live Recovery Talks. Very excited today. We've got two fabulous gentlemen, three fabulous gentlemen actually, including Kevin. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Claire Kennedy. I am the founder and CEO of a Brighton-based charity called Kennedy Street, and we are a recovery charity. Basically, we run a recovery helpline, and that's what's emerged thanks to COVID. So, and we have a national reach. So we, anybody who's out there who's interested in recovery, wants to find recovery, may have relapsed from recovery, has never heard of recovery, but they want to start their journey, feel free to give us a call. And what we do is we have an army of volunteers who we call recovery connectors. And what we do is we utilise these amazing resources we've acquired during lockdown to connect callers to these amazing resources that we know of in the community. And today you're going to meet one of those amazing resources in the shape of Cafe Sobar, who are a Nottingham-based project. They come under the umbrella of Double Impact. The lovely Graham, who is a dear friend of mine and such a helpful chap as well. Love him dearly. He's been so helpful to me as a founder and CEO of a charity. And this platform that we use, these recovery talks, are all about just disseminating a recovery message. We really want to help people understand that recovery is possible and that it is out there, and there are amazing projects out there that can help people who are seeking recovery, those with their hands up. And what we want to do is we want to celebrate those projects. And so that's in a nutshell, really. Now, I am going to say something before I hand over to Kevin. Kevin, can you shut that door, please, in your room? Because I also can hear his feedback from the dividing door. Honestly, I thought he would have done that before we even started. So there you go. You can tell it's live, can't you? Because that's one thing. I also can hear myself talking in the background. Brilliant. And Kev will come back now, and I will introduce you to him. So on that note, here's the fabulous Kevin Kennedy, and he's going to introduce our guests for today.
Hello, everybody. Unmute yourself. That's going to be one of the phrases of the year. Unmute yourself. That's what people are going to be shouting. Hi, my name's Kevin Kennedy. I'm the patron of Kennedy Street. If you need to put a face to the dulcet tones, I used to play Curly Watts in Coronation Street for 20 years, just in case you need to make a connection. We're nearly there, folks, in this lockdown. Not long now. Just got to keep going. Keep going. We're going to be okay. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Personally, I can't wait. I've had enough now. Just want to go back to work, back on the stage where I belong. So today, we're going to be talking to Greg and Jason from Cafe Sobar in Nottingham, which I've been to a couple of times. It's just down the road from the Theatre Royal, another beautiful building in Nottingham, and I love the Theatre Royal. Anyone from the Theatre Royal, hello guys, how are you? Now, Jason is involved in the creative projects, poetry groups, music shows, excuse me, which helps getting through addiction levels to creativity, which is very important. And of course, they're making some films at the moment. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Jason. It's all yours, Jason.
Hi, people. Claire, Kevin, thank you very much for having me and us on. And like you stated, I am Jason Loftus. I am the general manager of Cafe Sobar, which was originally set up as a recovery hub, safe space, community cafe, mainly targeted at people in recovery, but obviously operate as a high street enterprise. We do live events, we do creative events, we do great coffee, we do great cake, great food. But really our focus is to provide an environment where people post, mid, and obviously work with some people who are in the grips of substance use, a place to flourish and thrive. We do AA groups, we do mindfulness groups, we do babies and toddlers groups, we do mothers and babies groups. We try and provide an overall environment for people who are struggling or have struggled to kind of recreate their lives, really, in a safe space, away from relapse and away from any kind of negative potential influences. Obviously, we do training, volunteering, education, work experience, full-time work. The staff division at the moment is 50% people in recovery, 50% people not. So we aim to work with people in the recovery community to put distance between their substance misuse and their new life. And yeah, my drive, as Greg can testify to, is really about helping people who have had that kind of creative urge to kind of manifest that as a part of their recovery and a way to express their recovery, a way to express what makes them tick. And that comes in a form of the poetry. We work with the Do or Die Poets, which is a poetry group solely made of people in recovery, ran by an excellent poet called Miggy Angel, ex-Londoner, now one of our own in Nottingham. God bless you, Miggy Angel. He's a published poet. So we work with him. We work with lots of community partners, like I'm Not From London Records, get bands on, people in treatment systems who want to perform. We work with local indie press like Left Lion, and try and be part of a community hub and a vibrant creative scene without some of the more cliche stereotypical associations of like getting off your mash on stage and that kind of thing, and providing a safe space for everybody to engage, friends and families and your creators and practitioners themselves. And one of our great volunteers is Greg here. Greg is worked in the recovery community, is a customer of Sobar, volunteers for Sobar in many different aspects, but really we've found together the drive is around filmmaking and creating. So the Sobar Socialists, we call them, is our own little film troupe we've got together with a couple of other guys who reside at a residential rehab called Studio House in Nottingham. So we get together and on our YouTube channel make short films. Greg makes short films. We interview other artists in recovery all over the nation and try and give people, on the receiving end and the giving end, an opportunity to express. In a nutshell. And that's as well as, dishwashing, pot washing, etc., etc.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jason. That's, in a nutshell, that was cracking. I'm not going to lie. Cracking nutshell. Very, very interesting. Love the idea. Love the concept. So, Greg, do you want to tell us a little bit more about you and how you came about, how you came to get involved with Cafe Sobar? A little bit your story, if that's all right.
Hi. First of all, thank you, and I'm very grateful that I can be here. I'm a bit stressed, so yeah, but the main message which I want to send to the people and about myself a little bit. So I am an alcoholic, that is the first and main thing, and that is the reason why I found Sobar. I'm living in Nottingham for last 5 years, and as I said, I am an alcoholic and I am addicted to drugs as well, but I'm in recovery process for quite a long time. So there is a hope. I want to tell to everybody that is possible. Definitely it is possible to be happy and to be sober, but in my case I had to find a place like Sobar. When I finished my rehab, which was about 7 years ago, I thought that after the knowledge which I've get from the rehab is enough for me to stay sober for the rest of the life. Unfortunately, after about 1 year or 1.5 years, my life started to be very, very difficult. I've started to deal with stress, anger, with all these bad emotions, And as I know now, from my experience and other alcoholics' experience, it's like, if I want to stay sober and if I want to be happy, first of all, if I want to live my happy life, I need to be surrounded with the right people. And that is why I've started to looking some places where I can talk to the people and where is no alcohol. And I found Sobar, because the Sobar, it's a great restaurant with the really friendly staff, and there is no alcohol, and it makes this place very safety for me when I'm crossing the doors of Sobar. When the first time I've crossed the doors of Sobar, I've started to feeling like safe. And I'm not telling that just only because we are in front of the cameras. It's a real. I'm talking about the real emotions. And in my recovery, the most important thing for me is to feel safe. I need to avoid as much as I can. I need to avoid fear. I need to avoid dangerous people which can push me into the situation which will make me open the bottle with the alcohol again. There is so many aspects in recovery which I need to care of, and I found all this help in Wellbeing Hub, which was the beginning of my journey when I came back to my recovery process here in England, and the Sobar. So the Wellbeing Hub, there are the people which people like, let's say, the key workers, which can tell me, which can help me to making right decisions. I can be mentally supported by them, so I can feel safe, and I can do, when I feel safe, I can do the things in my life which are I can make the right decisions. Okay, so I'm really sorry, I'm a bit stressed and I have million thoughts in my head which I want to share with you, so that is why. So the Wellbeing Hub gave me a peace of mind, that I have a feeling that I'm protected somehow, that I could sleep much better. I've started to have a bigger appetite just because somebody gave me the emotions, like, okay, I don't need to be in anxiety all the time by thinking, what if, okay, they will do everything to do not help me, they don't like me because they know that I am an alcoholic, and so many people, they suffering some problems, and they should be they should receive the help first, like many, like a very dark scenarios I had in my head, which took away the chance of me of thinking that my life can be happy again. And as I said, Sobar, when I've crossed the doors of Sobar, I don't know how to explain that, but because of staff were so friendly, I've started to feel, oh my god, this is my, I had a feeling that I'm in the right place straight away. And after some, and I became the customer of the Sobar. I have been there often. for a coffee mainly, which is my addiction as well. So, but after being a customer of Sobar for quite a long time, I've decided to ask the manager of an opportunity to be a volunteer there, because I had some spare time and I could help other people using my skills I just wanted to be happy, and I had a feeling that if I will help them, I will be more happy. And I did some volunteering things for Sobar, and I've met the person in Sobar as well who knew that I like to do the videoing. I'm not a professional, but I love to do that. And that person told me that, listen, I know that you like to do that, and probably just because I decided to be a volunteer there, so somebody decided to be a volunteer for me as well. So it works like... So that person gave me the camera, and it was the first professional camera in my life. So my passion for the videoing, it was like the volcano explosion. So I've started to be more interested about the videoing. The professional cameras giving to the people like me a chance to understand what the camera is, because I've never, I didn't knew it, what the camera is when I've been using the phone. With the proper camera, you can do all these manual settings, and it giving you a so huge opportunity to show the emotions. And I found the camera and videoing as a main source of my, how to say that, like the engine of my life, which is like recovery and my life. It's the same thing. And just because I became a customer of Sobar, now I have the camera somehow, and now I found my passion. And the passion giving me a feeling that when I have the bad moments time to time, that I have reasons for living, and it's not artificial. I don't need to acting in front of myself that I'm okay or something like that. I can feel that when the bad moments will gone, I have this camera, and there are so many stories to tell, and I can be useful for other people and make their lives happy, and in the same time I can be most happiest person in the world by using the camera. So it's like, it's incredibly, it's a miracle. And to be honest, in my opinion, the very important thing in recovery, it's creativity and passion. But that is another, it is some stage of recovery, because recovery is a process, and that is not like I taught in the past. That is a rehab, and woo, I'm okay now. So it's a process, and for this process I need to be surrounded with the right people. I need to find the things which I love to do, and all these things I got because of Sobar, like Double Impact, Wellbeing Hub, and all these people which are very experienced and very helpful. And because all these people, I can live my life happy, even if I have a bad moments time to time. So I want to say to the people which are in recovery, on the beginning of recovery, it's 100% possible. And I remember myself when I've started my rehab, when I've been listening to the people which they sharing their experience, which they wanted to share their happiness, and which they tell me that there is a hope. I had a feeling, yes, it's possible for you, but not for me, maybe. I couldn't believe that I can be the same happy as they. But honestly, I can promise to the people which are starting the process with recovery, I've almost died, so I know what I'm talking about. Even if I'm looking young, I've almost died, and I have been addicted for many years with amphetamine and to alcohol after that. So honestly, there is a hope, even if I'm in the hell right now. So that is my message, and that message wouldn't be possible without the gentleman like Jason, which is my family. You all are my family. So I need you, and I'm really grateful that I can be here. And one more time, the message for the people in recovery, it's 1000% possible. And that is the process. It will take some time, but you can live your life happy, being happy. So yeah, that is my message.
That is an absolute beautiful message. Thank you so much. Wow. You know, I mean, I'm just so glad that you realize that actually, you know, this is a journey. And, you know, I know you hear people say it all the time, but recovery is a journey, you know, and I'm so grateful that you kept coming back and that you realize that actually, you know, that the rehab is usually the stopping of the drinking and the drug taking. And often people at that point get a bit confused and think, oh, well, there you go. I've stopped drinking and drug taking now, so I'm okay. But I'm so glad that you found Sobar, and that you not only found your passion, but you found your purpose, you know, and you articulated that beautifully, Greg. Really, you did, you know, a wonderful job of and giving hope to those people that are out there that may be thinking, you know what, I don't think I can do this. You know, everything's possible. Everything's possible. And what you articulated was the importance of community. It's critical. It's critical that we find our people, that we are around people who understand what we're going through and the stages that we go through, and that they don't judge. You know, like you said, you know, we can get alongside people and understand, empathize. And I think obviously it's clear that you've got very many gifts and talents. And often I find, in my own personal experience, is I used to find those gifts and talents a little bit overwhelming before I got into recovery, and I used to implode. And this, you know, this amazing mind that you've got, it used to overwhelm me. And what recovery has taught me, like it's teaching you, is that actually these are gifts and talents that you've been given. You've been blessed with this amazing mind. You've been blessed with these amazing talents. And what you're learning through recovery is that these gifts and talents aren't for you to turn in on yourself. They're to help other people to come alongside you who may feel lost and lonely. So thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful story. Kev, have you got any questions that you would like to ask either the lovely Jason or the delightful Greg?
Well, thank you very much for that, Greg and Jason. It's always a privilege to hear someone's story, and I think I love it when people find our tribe. You know, we are different from other people. I know it's a bridge to normal living, but we can't get away from the fact that you add a drink or a drug to us, and then we become completely different, and that's not normal. So you've got to find people who understand that who are not judgmental, and it's 100%. It's our tribe. It's our tribe of addicts who are actually out there doing it, and the addicts who are in recovery. And it's very important that you find that, and you do find that sense of community, because you can talk to people about it because they understand. Because they've been there themselves. It's very cliquey and it's very unique, and I think that's. I'm not saying that as a. I think it's a good thing that it's cliquey and unique, because it's the only way we can recover is to share our fears. And what Greg said about being scared and fear is we all suffer from that, but we never say anything because we always think it's just us. And we always just think it's our fears which are unreasonable and outlandish, but it's not. We all suffer from it. And when you actually come across a person or a group of people who suddenly have the same fears and the same thoughts that you have, that you suddenly feel that sense of belonging. And as human beings, we need to belong to a group. We can't be singular. We can't. And that's the only way we can get through this. And as for the arts and filmmaking, that is obviously from where you were saying it's your passion. And I've been banging on for years about how art can really help the addicts, because we are quite artistic people. We're great at storytelling because of the lies we've had to tell in addiction. We can conjure up a tale out of nothing and make it believable. Now, if we harness all that stuff that we've been going through, it can be very productive. And it's just a question of, I mean, actually, speaking of my own experience, I have the perfect occupation for an addict because I'm an actor, a musician, an author, and it gets myself out of thinking about me, poor me, and my problems when I'm actually portraying someone else up on a stage, like you do when you've got that camera in front of you. When your eye goes to that lens, all of a sudden your world is in that lens, and you're thinking about how this looks and how that should work and how this shot is going to mix with the next shot, and how the story being told in the correct way. And all of a sudden you're out of yourself, and that's absolutely vital. The question I have actually is what are you making, and do you find that are people coming in recovery and not even in recovery? Are they coming along to help, getting involved? What are the projects that you've got in the pipeline? Is the cafe, is it open? That's another thing I need to know.
That's the big issue you've got. We used to the project in the pipeline is when we do reopen. I've taken my mic out my ear now because clearly something's afoot. So please stop me if it's sounding askew. We had regular monthly events, the Sobar socials, the last Friday of every month, kind of free to entry for friends, family, the recovery community, and the population at large. So we used to record those, document them, and have them as a kind of resource and as a way to encourage other people to, if they were feeling a bit shy or feeling a bit anxious, there's proof in the pudding that people still can get on the stage and perform, regardless if they're affected or, they're not affected. A lot of people used to use substances as a crutch to perform, but we were trying to kind of process and advance that that's not necessary. So the big project now is once we do reopen, because obviously we've had to lock down, we take the COVID situation extremely seriously at Sobar for obvious reasons. The big projects now is to start live streaming our events and gigs and performances to the planet, to take over the planet slowly through creativity. So we've just had a new, not to get too much into it, a new dedicated line put in. So our broadband is kind of bleeding edge. We've got Greg, we've got another gentleman called Jeff, another gentleman called Rich, who are in residential rehab at the moment. They all come from a background of sound, music, film, television. I think Greg underplays his experience a tad, but we've all got together and we've acted as a little network together. And also everybody who I work with here has been through the Nottingham Recovery Network, the wellbeing hub that Greg referred to. So they act as a feeder team to us from the football analogy. So people will come through there, and now the big project, as I said, is to start live streaming these events, organizing the events, and making them accessible to the general population more so, because we've still got to deal with post-COVID and how that's going to manifest. And for a community recovery hub, that's one aspect, but to a high street business that's functioning to deliver a product to the public, we're still going to have a few issues to contend with that. But in the meantime, Greg and the crew making short films. As I said, we're doing interviews with creative people in recovery all over the UK, as well as trying to keep on top of getting Sobar opening and try not to get too excited about that, but also getting things in place for our little crew of people. And hopefully more recruits will get to have, a real creative output and a point and a way to express themselves and others. Because a lot of what we're doing, we're kind of conscious bystanders. We're setting up the events. We're supporting the creative people to get involved and just watching and stepping back and saying, you guys know what you're doing. You're the masters and mistresses of your own destiny now. We'll just provide the safe space for it. And hopefully the live streaming to publicize that. We've had a lot of people that have come through our doors who have not worked with the BBC, people who have published poets, people have then joined up other anthology groups to become published poets. So it's not a dead end. It's something that we aim to proliferate, and we aim to support people creatively and in the recovery, because obviously Double Impact is our parent charity. So we've kind of got all angles covered in the nicest possible way. We've got the recovery, we've got the support, we've got the connectors, we've got the staff who have been through recovery embedded in the recovery community themselves, as well as the output of a high street brand that's quite locally successful. So we're trying to be a holistic, one-stop creative shop with some good coffee and cake, really. So, and that's where Greg and our Sobar socialists, all our performers, are integral. You can have an empty building and a great space, but if you ain't got the people to populate it and support it and get engaged with it, we're nothing. We're nothing without people like Greg. We're nothing without the charity. We're nothing without the people in recovery who come through our doors. So it's not a one-sided story by any stretch of the imagination.
So with the government guidelines now, have they given you a sort of date-ish? Is it May the 17th? May
the 17th we're aiming for.
Yeah.
That's the Monday. Still, I'm carrying a lot of anxiety about whether the practicalities of that. We've still got a lot of work to do in the background. As I said, because of Graham, he's our CEO, good friend of your good selves. He's been really, really amazing around the COVID front and making sure we're safe as houses. Because obviously trying to balance reopening, balance contractors, it's good to be able to go, right, Graham, what do I do? And he's really great at that. So we feel we're ready to go on May the 16th or 17th, but we've still got to play it by ear around guidelines, rule of 6, who can be here, who can be what, questions we have to ask, engage in. It's not just serving a decent brew anymore and having a nice gig. It's not having a nice cake or, decent lunch. The challenge has become more complex, as well as delivering these events for the recovery community and delivering a good service to the recovery community. It's taken a whole different aspect now, but we're capable and we're good. And we've got willing people.
You're reaching out beyond the recovery community as well, which I think is absolutely vital, because it is a bridge to normal living. And I think we should be pushing towards encompassing everybody. And that possibly because we need to demystify the mysteries of addiction and what people think. There's another point I wanted to make, which sorry, my head's a bit gone. But what Greg said, and as a recovering alcoholic and addict, I have to say the best drug I have ever taken is the drug of performance, and certainly the most addictive and most positive. And I think it's so vital, and this is really a message for people out there who are maybe in early recovery, maybe late on in recovery. Just pick something up, pick a guitar up, pick a poem, do something marvelous in the garden, because believe me, the rewards are immense. I'm sorry, Claire wants to say something now.
It's all right. No, it's all right. It is fabulous, because it gets our creative juices flowing, and I do think that as people with addictive personalities, because that's been my experience of working with people who have got addictions, is we quite addictive personalities, a lot of us. And I think that underpinning a lot of that stuff is creativity. It's amazing minds that work at a million miles an hour, that actually what creativity does for me personally, and my creative outlet is art. I love art. You know, my very first sponsor said to me, what do you do for enjoyment? So I used to use drink and drugs, you know, and I was like, going out, drinking and drug taking. And she said, yeah, but you don't do that anymore. What other hobbies have you got? And to be honest, at the beginning of my recovery journey, I didn't have any hobbies. My addictions were a full-time job. And she said to me, what did you enjoy doing before you picked up addictions? And to be honest, I've been in active addiction from being at school. So, you know, really, I had to go right back. And she said, what did you enjoy doing at school? I said, well, I enjoyed art, but I wasn't very good at it. I wanted to tell her straight away I wasn't very good. She said, no, I didn't ask you if you was good at it. She said, I want you to do something that you enjoy. Because for me, creativity and doing watercolors and painting and all sorts of different, you know, things that I use to create, it's a really mindfulness act. I can't be anywhere else. You know, it's like Kev says, when he's performing, when he's putting on a show, he's got to be in the moment. Like when Greg was saying, you know, how do you find it, Greg, when you pick up that camera? Do you find that your mind is very focused on what it is that you're doing? Do you find it mindful?
Oh, yes, definitely. And it's more than just being busy. It's like a huge joy of like Kevin said. He said that is a best drug, you know, in the world, and that is it. It's like, let's say, I will give you an example. I was trying to find something which will give me the similar impact of dopamine, let's say, by running, or please do not get me wrong. I'm not saying nothing's wrong about some activities which other people doing. It's like, the thing is that if I will find something which giving me a pleasure, in my case, it's a videoing, let's say, or swimming. Even if I have problems, while I'm doing these things, I'm finding the safe space in my mind, which is not dependent on any circumstances from the real world. It's only me and my peace, and like the same feeling which the drugs and alcohol have been giving me in the past, like being right here, right now, feeling well, relaxed, feeling safe. So by finding the things which I really love to do, I can start to feel all these emotions which alcohol and drugs have been giving me in the past. But one more time, as I said, it's a process. It's not happening just like that, but it's possible, and it's beautiful. Art is beautiful. Thank you.
We have found a kind of transformative experience. Sometimes people walk through our doors, and when they do, 'cause we do open mic nights as well, so people will bring their friends and family. Just going back to Kevin's point, we'll kind of reach beyond our echo chamber, because everyone wants to get involved to see transformation and creativity. It's not, you know, it's a team game essentially, and people want the support from their families, their friends, their loved ones. And we've often had people who they'll invite people down they've not spoke to for years because of their substance misuse, and that will reach beyond the recovery community. And we also work, as I said, with local community partners like record labels. I'm Not From London, Left Lion, and that helps us reach beyond our echo chamber. But it all comes back to that point, that kind of transformative experience that people have, because it provides an element of belief. I've found that I can do this, without X, Y, and Z in my system. I'm worthy. People are appreciating it, and some of the looks on some people's faces when they get that first round of applause is, as a kind of active bystander, is just something to behold. It's like seeing a baptism. So it's just like, whoa, look at this going on. And it's just, and everyone feels it, and to be in a room, substance free, to feel that wave is transformative for everybody involved.
Yeah, it really
is. Very important, isn't it? Because if you look at the quiz shows or whatever, the Britain's Got Talent and all that, they don't just go on there and do their bit. They've got to have some kind of backstory. And the more tragic it is, then the better it is. Which is a sad fact of life. But looking beyond that, beyond the TV stuff, sometimes you can't be creative unless you've felt something more than other people. I find that very interesting, and it is a high. It is once you've. And the thing is, again, we are not afraid to fail as well. That's the important thing. If you get up there and do something and it doesn't go quite right, it doesn't really matter.
No, and we're a really safe, supportive space, so people will get up and freeze. But there is such a positive vibe that people get over it quite quickly, because they know they're being supported and they know they're being appreciated, even if it's their first time doing it and they've built up so much anxiety, it becomes a bit of an issue. And also we have, because we're a kind of a bar that doesn't serve alcohol, we can have kind of pre-teen nights. We've got a lot of kind of young artists coming through as well, who from different organizations, mental health charities, younger persons, substance misuse charities. So we do reach beyond generation wise as well, and try and nurture that creativity, because it's an example to everyone, especially in the recovery community, that this is possible.
Yeah. And in the civilian community, like Kev said earlier, it's critical. We've piloted sober social nights, and what was really interesting, we're not a big established charity. We were just trialing it to see what was wanted really in the community, and if people were keen to get involved. And they really were keen to get involved. I think every town should have a safe, sober environment. I really do. But what really surprised me was the amount of young people that actually didn't have personal drink or drug problems. They were just looking for an alternative social space. A lot of young people today don't use drink and drugs because, I don't know if it's because of their family history. Some of them are affected, others, their parents may have been, drinkers or drug takers. We do have modern day technology, which a lot of young people are quite addicted to, the phone. So they get their instant gratification via the internet rather than drink and drugs. But I was so surprised that all of the university students, they were all paying to come in, which was a revelation. And that was one of the questions that I wanted to ask, getting to my point is, so your Cafe Sobar, whilst you do this amazing work with the recovering community, and it's absolutely critical, essential and admirable, do you also open your restaurant to the general public? Yeah, we could not survive without them, really. And we do, we've got a kind of 3 different cohorts that come in, really. People in the recovery community, we get 4 lots of young families that are looking for a safe space, that don't want to go to, say, Witherspoons for a cheap breakfast. So we also get a kind of an older clientele in the mornings, but a lot of students, a real lot of students coming in to study. Free Wi-Fi goes a long way. Trust me on that one. So they come in, sit by the window. We've got a beautiful building. It's, the old Nottinghamshire Building Society headquarters. So it's a semi-Victorian building, beautiful architectural space. So people come and sit in. And because Nottingham is quite an international hub now, with a lot of international students
who may not drink for cultural reasons, religious reasons. Maybe, you know, it's not a community they've been brought up in. We get a lot of international students coming in, which is, you know, amazing, because it's such a diverse crowd we have in that's beyond recovery. And a lot of people, especially now we can't leave menus out or we can't leave paperwork, don't know we're a charity. So we're doing it by stealth type of thing to a certain extent, because we've got to be appreciative of people's confidentiality, why they're here. It doesn't matter if, you know, that people don't need to know there's an AA group going upstairs. Only the people that do need to know. So people are really surprised when you say, well, actually, we're a charity. You know, actually, all our money goes to Double Impact. We'd help people in the community from substance misuse issues, you know, and we do X, Y, and Z. So they're kind of blown away, because I think they've got an idea in their head we should be little old ladies or little old blokes in a church hall, you know, pouring weak tea and Battenbergs for folk, because that's what they see, a kind of traditional community support aspect. But, you know, architecturally, we're brilliant. Cutting edge technology, great staff embedded in the recovery community, great staff at lots of other activities going on, and a great client group that, known or unknown, is supporting a greater good. And when you embed that to people and say, actually, your pound or your 50p does X, Y, and Z, it keeps them coming back, because they want to do some good. Your average Joe or Joe S in the street wants their money to go somewhere good. They want to go to a place that pays their taxes. They want to go to a place that supports their community. You know, there's more. It's more than just a brew, essentially, in what we do, and people are blown away by that beyond the recovery community. So that really helps us.
And more so now than ever before. I mean, what you're doing, like I say, I've known Graham for a long time now, and what you're doing with Cafe Sobar and the charity as well is you're being socially innovative. So you're thinking about the impact that it has on the community that you live, you know. And I know my kids, we've got two daughters, we've got a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old, and I know how socially conscious they are as young people. And I know for sure, I mean, they're very heavily involved in what we do anyway. And they know everything about recovery. They know more about recovery than they do about active addiction, to be honest. And they are, honestly, they're such beautiful girls. And for me, if that's the only gift we ever give them, that seed of hope, you know, that God forbid if anything ever happened to them, if they ever got an addiction problem or a mental health problem, that it's okay to ask for help. So that's our greatest gift to them. But what I have noticed with them and their friends is they're really socially conscious young people. So they would rather, I think every high street should have a Sobar, and in league with Costa Coffee. I've said this to Graham before. I said, you know, forget Pret-a-Manger, forget Costa Coffee. Let's get down to Sobar or the equivalent. So, you know, we'd love to do something like this in Brighton. Have a recognisable high street brand that's high quality, good food, good product, that's got a real heart.
Another franchise opportunity for you if you're interested.
There you go. There we go.
To interrupt. But yeah, I agree with you completely. There was that kind of movement in the 90s, a straight edge movement, and a lot of people became very conscious about substance use, social responsibility. You just see the generation now. You'll get people coming in, and we've got everything's recyclable in our place. But let's say I'm not using one-use plastic for 2020. So can I have this, that, the other? And these young kids, like at my age, I wouldn't know my base from my apex about social responsibility, to be frank. You know, I was too busy drinking cider in graveyards and running around like an idiot type thing. But yeah, it's just a real refreshing face-to-face engagement with people like that, because they are so socially conscious at the moment.
Yeah, beautiful. And absolutely more now than ever after this whole pandemic, I believe in my heart, I've always believed this, but now I feel really confident in saying that social innovation potentially can and should change the world, the whole nature of business, because there's a lot more businesses have gone bankrupt, there's a lot more businesses that have gone out of business, you know. So it's an opportunity for change makers in the community who are good at business but want to have a heart for the community as well. You know, why shouldn't we have Uber set up as a socially conscious business? Why can't we have an Amazon And it's not rocket science. All I need is a good businessman to get next to me, and I'd be making a new Amazon that actually gave 75% of its profits back to the community. You know, I mean, why has nobody done that yet? Listen, little acorns, big oaks come from little acorns. But we've absolutely loved having you. Have you got any other questions, Kev? Because we're hurtling towards the end of our hour slot.
No, I just want to say thank you very much. It's been, I'm always impressed with Sobar in Nottingham. It's one of my favourite places to visit when I'm on the road. It's always good to pop my head in. Thank you very much, Jason and Greg. And
Could I ask a favour, Kevin, before we stop?
Certainly.
What we've got is one of my operations manager, Steve Udell, put together this little project we're running at the moment called 10 Records That Changed My Life. So now we've got Ian Brown from the Stone Roses up there, and he's chosen 10 albums that changed his life.
Yeah.
I wonder if you would do us the honour at some stage, we start a dialogue about 10 records that changed your life. And what we do, we display the albums and you and a little blurb about it. It's just a way of explaining to people that, you know, change comes in different ways and creativity is a positive change. So after this, I'd love to, if that's all right, we'll start a dialogue and pick your brains. If
Absolutely,
that's okay.
no problem. That would be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. And I just want to thank you both, and thank you, Greg, for your honesty and for your wonderfulness. You know, keep shining, keep knowing that in your heart you've been gifted with so many gifts and talents, and that you've got good people around you, you know, and just stick with that community and those good people. I do believe that people are put on our path for a reason. You know, our job is to work out what that reason is, you know, and we can learn from it and we can grow from it, and then we can pass that gift on. That's what we do here. You know, we pass on just a message of hope. So thank you for being part of our recovery talks. We love you. We love Double Impact. We love Graham. We love you guys now. You're part of our fabulous international recovery family. So next time we're in Nottingham, see you at Cafe Sobar.
Coffee and cakes on me, guys. Thank you so much. You take care.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the honor, the opportunity.
Take
care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Yeah, and please share this. Please give this message of hope to your friends and family. You never know, just one person might hear this talk and think, you know what, I'm gonna give recovery a go. So please share and like, and keep sharing and liking. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.